Hey everybody, this is Cody Bateman. Welcome to a brand new episode of our relationship marketing podcast. As usual, I'm very excited for the guests that we have on. I'm excited every week for the guests that we have because we have amazing guests that come on and share some really cool stuff with us. And boy, I'll tell you, the guy today, he and I have known each other for the last 5 or 6 years, and you better have your seatbelts on for this guy. I mean, he's incredible. He's done some amazing things. He's got great energy. My good friend, Mr. Charlie Cina. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Cody. Yourself?
Good. Let's get after this thing, man. We've got listeners that want to hear what you got to say. So this guy is the owner of C4 Promotions. Basically goes out and teaches us how to present and how to look good and how to build brands and how to make a difference in the world, how to be humble servants, C4 Promotions. So you've done a lot of stuff with that. We'll get into that. Also the author of the book, Expose and Close. I had the opportunity to get a copy of that in your soft launch. And I read that book way back. I think it was probably January of this year that I read your book.
Yeah.
Probably refer to that. And so let's jump right in. There's just a wealth of information waiting for our listeners here. Charlie Cina, my goodness. So let's start out. Let's start right off with the book, Expose and Close. I mean, first of all, I think you sent me that book in the mail as part of your soft launch, and I was instantly drawn to it. Not only because I know you, but I was instantly drawn to it because of the title, Expose and Close. So in my mind, when I first saw the title, Expose and Close, I immediately thought, well, what does he mean by that? So what do you mean by expose and close?
Well, short story. People have always asked me, how did you go about? Past 7 years, I've been working with a lot of speakers, trainers, and subject matter experts, many that people like, Les Brown and Tony Robbins. And one day this guy just showed up at my office. He heard me on a Facebook Live talking about how I closed John Taffer. I don't know if you know John Taffer. He's got the show on TV called Bar Rescue. It's a reality show. He goes in and helps these restaurant bar owners, turn their bars around. So I wanted to acquire John as a client. And one day, I found out he moved his office to Las Vegas, and I just got in my car and I showed up. I showed up dressed up, professional. There was a sign on the door that said no solicitation, but that did not pertain to me, obviously, because I wasn't there trying to sell John anything. I was there to do a joint venture with John or essentially help him monetize his content online. So I rang the buzzer. And I went in, and of course, the gatekeeper was there. And she said to me, well, do you have an appointment with John? I said, no, I don't, but I need to see him. And long story short, she said, well, what's it about? And I had my power pitch down. I said, well, I empower speakers and trainers and subject matter experts like John monetize their content online worldwide. And I want to do for John what I'm doing for people like Les Brown, Buddy Valastro, or whoever at that particular time I had in my library of clients. And shortly after that, several days later, I inked a deal with John Taffer. Well, this young guy heard me tell that story on a Facebook Live, and he did to me what I did to John Taffer, which was what I call the show up or the knock. I just show up with my power pitch with certainty that I'm there to help a client. And this guy shows up, and as I go out to meet and greet him now, because I respect him for his tenacity of pulling a move, right? Pulling one of my moves on me.
Right.
I find that I'm mentoring this young guy. I don't want to say I gave him the mistake of giving him my cell phone number, but he called me at dinner time and it turned into a 2-hour conversation, and I found myself mentoring him. So long story short, one day he said to me, Charlie, what's the secret? How do you close people like Les Brown and John Taffer and et cetera? And I just said back to him, well, man, I just expose and close. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I just use every tip, tool, strategy, and technique and deliver my power presentation with certainty. And that has made all the difference for me in my life. And he came back to me and said, oh, so you have an expose and close marketing system? And I had that aha moment, and I said, yes, I do. And obviously that's what prompted me to start writing the book. So that's how I came up with Expose and Close.
Expose and close. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you a little bit because I know I know your content. I've read your book. I've seen you in action myself. You're a big relationship guy, and we'll get into that. When you see the title and even hear you tell the story and you see the title Expose and Close, the one of the things that immediately comes to mind is, okay, so what you're saying, Charlie, is that all you got to do is go out there and expose what you offer and then close the deal. Is that really how you do business? That's all you do. You just expose what you do and you close the deal. Is that what you do?
That easy. It's been a great podcast, Cody. Well, here's the deal. And again, complete transparency. I use that title because as I went out there and started telling my story, people are like, that's catchy. It's a catchy hook. It differentiates you. But the answer to your question is no, that it's not that simplistic. However, I believe it is simplistic. I believe that there's organic opportunities that are right in front of us each and every single day that we as human beings that get bogged down with daily life and or all the social media madness. And what I mean by that is everybody is so hung up on social media that they forget what social media really is or where it started. And social media started with a hello, right? Mm-hmm. with a handshake, with a connection, with making eye contact. So for me, my whole objective, and the first, one of the first chapters in my book is I break down what it means to expose, and then I get into, the power of your name, a brand called you. But my whole thing, Cody, is how do you present, position, and profit? How do you expose yourself at the first point of contact where you become the only logical choice in your space? So again, you're at a dry cleaners, you're at your kid's ball game, you're at church. Like, there's people that are right in front of you that have two things that you need. Now, this might sound curt to some of your listeners, but you need their money. Now, I don't say that with bad intention, right? We're all in business. We all have jobs because we need to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as the vehicle that you're in, what you're selling or what you're bringing to the community has value and you're certain that it could help somebody. So number one, the people that are out there have your money. Number two, they have contacts that they can plug you into so you can build these revenue relationships, these business relationships. Now, again, everything doesn't always result in revenue, but guess what? If you're a business owner or you're out there representing a company in some way, shape, or form, money does make the world go round. And as long as you're coming from a place of good intention, you could essentially make a difference. So that being said, if you're on a plane or a train or in a coffee shop and you make eye contact with somebody, I have found that people miss the opportunity to stick out their hand, say hello, and introduce themselves. So my whole objective is how do you get people at hello? So if I met you, for example, in a coffee shop, right? We're standing there waiting in line at Starbucks. We make eye contact. Rest assured that if you're standing next to me, chances are more than not that I'm going to stick out my hand and say, hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name? Cody. Cody, what do you do? Right? And then you're going to tell me what you do. I'm a police officer. I'm a printer. I'm a chiropractor. Well, when you ask me what I do, I have a power pitch down. I would say to you something to the effect of, I help business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals shorten their sales cycle and increase revenue by creating high-level client relationships guaranteed in 3 easy steps.
Okay, so it's interesting because you used the story about meeting somebody in a coffee shop, and you make eye contact, you put your hand out, and you say, "Hi, my name is Charlie." In that first chapter of your book, that's an exposure, right? I mean, that is an exposure. So, and then of course you've got your presentation you've got down, which obviously is an exposure, and you like to get to what you can do to serve somebody else quickly, which is good. Here's the experience I had when I got your book. When I saw expose and close, my sales hat went on, thinking, dang, I want to read this, because in my mind it was like, yeah, I need to expose what I offer and get the deal done. So my sales hat's on. I want to see what's in this book. That's what I would say the marketplace wants from you. They want to know how I can quickly expose what I do and close the deal. That's what a salesperson wants from you. But what they need from you is in the book. What they need from you is what exposure really means. It's not just doing a presentation and closing. It's a lot of other things, right down to the, hey, I met you at the coffee shop and you're a human being and I want to make a connection with you. Whether you buy from me or not doesn't matter. And that's the content that's in your book. And so, I coined that phrase with the stuff I do. With the stuff I do, I say all the time, we're gonna leverage what the marketplace wants from us, which is a way to follow up with their clients with our card program. But we're going to inspire you on what you need, which is a way to act on your promptings, reach out in kindness. You did the same thing with your book. Expose and close what the marketplace wants, what salespeople want from you. But the content inside is what they need from you, which is how to care for people. And you're super good at it. I mean, you're just super good at creating relationship and doing those kinds of things. So tell us what are some things that you do? Let's say that you meet me at the coffee shop and I'm not interested at all in that pitch of yours. I'm not interested in what you're doing, but you met me. So what kind of things do you do to keep in touch and keep top of mind with people?
Well, here's the deal. The whole purpose for what I'll call the power presentation, right, is to sort, sift, and separate prospects from suspects. Now, if I said to you, again, I give you my power pitch, I empower business owners, sales professionals, and entrepreneurs to shorten their sales cycle and increase revenue guaranteed in 3 easy steps. If you say to me, what are the 3 easy steps? I'm headed in the right direction. Well, Cody, I help people like you with businesses like yours do 3 things: present, position, and profit. I can teach you how to present yourself in a way, both online and offline, where you become the only logical choice at the first point of contact. I can teach you how to position yourself to where you dominate your space, you become the only logical choice. And 3, I can teach you how to acquire high-level clients, nurture those relationships long-term, and potentially create revenue relationships for life. Now, at that point, one of 2 things is going to happen. Cody's going to come back and say to me, wow, Charlie, that's incredible. I have a direct sales company and I have tens of thousands of people that need to know what you have. Would you like to come on and do a podcast with me? Right? Mm-hmm. Cody, absolutely. And I'm just using that. Obviously, our relationship's way deeper than that. But you understand that now I'm entering into a relationship process, a sales process. Because here's the reality, and you know this just as good as me, if not better. You really don't close on a deal. You don't close on selling somebody a book or a bottle of water or a pen or a service called send out cards. You're closing a relationship. People are buying because you came from a position of truth, authenticity, and proof, right, of what you have. Where's the proof? Well, that comes in when you say the 3 easy steps, and then they come back and say, wow, that's really, really cool. Who have you done that for? Well, then you're going to relate to companies and or people that have benefited from your product or your service. So if you were a speaker, which you are, and I was coming at you to want to help you monetize your content online, I would say, Cody, I would like to show you what I've done for people like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and Eric Thomas, and how I help them monetize and take their content worldwide. So
let's back up a second. I want to go back to coffee shop. Meet me at the coffee shop. We shake hands. We do that. You go into your, hey, Charlie, so what do you do? I say that, and you go into your power. What do you call it? The power.
Call it a power presentation.
Power presentation.
I don't like the word pitch, but people know what that means. So,
but you're prepared because you know that the second question after what's your name is what do you do, and that's your opportunity to go into the power presentation. So what happens if I say, you get done with that and I say, what did you just say? What was that you just said? Because the chances are you could be. It's like there's a scene in there's a movie. Have you ever seen Tommy Boy?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, Tommy Boy. I've watched it 100 times. It's got Chris Farley in it.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in there where Chris Farley and his buddy, they're out trying to sell this guy something, and his little buddy starts going into this big, huge pitch, and the buyer's like, whoa, slow down there, little fella. Slow down there, little fella. You need to speak language I understand, something like that. You could run into someone like that. You go into your power presentation, you don't know who this person is. Heck, they might be a mechanic down at the corner shop. And so,
right. Well, again, I always
slow down, fella. I speak my language. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I always like to go in, and again, I like to be the person that says, "Hi, my name is."
Right.
Because when you say, "Hi, my name is," you're in control. "Hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name?" "Cody." "Cody, nice to meet you." Right? "Are you live around here?" "Oh yeah, I live down the street." "Oh yeah, how many years you been in the neighborhood?" 12 years. "Oh wow, you have kids?" "Yeah, I got 3 kids. Where do they go to school?" Right? So we're kind of shortcutting, but you want to have conversations that convert, right? The objective is how do you connect with that person? How do you convey a message? How do you build rapport and credibility in that short window that you have? And then how do you convert that into a conversation that could be mutually beneficial or collaborative? So again, if I'm sticking out my hand first, I'm essentially controlling that conversation. "What's your name?" "Cody." "Cody, you from the neighborhood?" "Yeah." "What do you do?" "Well, I'm a doctor." "Oh, really? What kind of doctor?" "Well, I'm an orthopedic surgeon." "Oh, wow, an orthopedic surgeon. That's amazing. I'm sure you're very busy. I know there's a lot of with the Raiders coming into Las Vegas, right? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of big opportunity for you. You probably don't get the opportunity to sleep." "No, man, I don't. I'm swamped." "What do you do, Charlie?" See what I'm saying? We're kind of role playing it, so sometimes that gets awkward. But when you're certain and you have your power pitch down and you learn how to control the conversation, and again, I'm not saying control from a bad or a manipulative standpoint, right? You're just asking the right questions to sort, sift, and separate whether that person in front of you is of like mind, right? And there's ways for you guys to do business or have a friendship or a relationship. Now, again, some people you meet and you find out, the guy turns around and he's cross-eyed, and he's not cross-eyed because he's got a birth defect. The guy reeks of alcohol, right? And you can tell he's a derelict, and you, right? You want to sort, sift, and separate that guy. Or somebody you can tell immediately that they're not coming from a place of good intention. But when you're in control of the conversation and you can have clarity in 10 seconds or less, right, and deliver your marketing message, your message to market on what you do, who you are, and how you can potentially help that person, those words are triggering pictures in that person's mind that quick of whether or not they like you, they want to listen to you, and that trust level is going up. As a matter of fact, that trust level went up as soon as you said, "Hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name?" And you came back and said, "My name's Cody." Are we strangers anymore?
No.
Right? We might not be besties, but we're definitely,
yeah.
Right? So if we were at a 0, now we're at a 1 or a 2.
Right.
Right? If your beard's neat and clean and you're dressed nice, and do you understand? All that stuff becomes relevant in the subconscious, and all those layers of the crocodile brain where most people are like, "Stop, don't get next to me," right? The hands start to go back, or the layers of the onion start to come back, and you say, "Wow, this guy or this gal is really a nice guy." And there might be a way for us, to sit down and have a cup of coffee, be friends, do business. Maybe it's a new client.
So there's a reason I asked you that line of question a little bit jokingly the way I did, because I know what's in your book. I know the content of your book. I know how you roll. And I know that you spend a lot of time talking to a new acquaintance about them, and you establish a relationship before you actually get to the power presentation. So I was playing with you a little bit because I knew you'd come back and share, well, actually the first part of the conversation is all about them. And that's where you sift and sort, do those kind of things. You beautifully portray that in your book. And, you know, and I've seen you over the years implement that kind of strategy. Now, you know, it's weird, Charlie, it's really weird because I have so many guests on here and we end up in similar conversations like this. The importance of creating rapport, creating relationship, making it about that person, assessing their need, seeing what their likes and dislikes are, how you can be of service to them without or before you even think of going into your presentation. We sit and listen to you say that, which you just did. It's common sense. It's such common sense when you hear it, but why are there so many salespeople that when they meet somebody, it is 15 seconds in, they're into their power presentation, and it's way more do that than don't do it.
Well,
so now we listen to you and it's super common sense to build rapport. Why do so many people jump to that so fast?
Well, it's like anything else, right? Doing it is simple, but executing it sometimes is complex, right? So couple different reasons. Number one, I think that, you know, the millennials, and I don't know what my kids are going to be called. I forgot what my kids are, you know, 15 and my son's going to be 18. But, you know, I was brought up where you shook a hand. Like social media was really social media, right? We were playing on the street, you know, you get into a fist fight, like life was different, right? So where we're at right now is really in the middle of high tech and high touch.
Right.
And you know, I'm Generation X, right? And then the people before me were baby boomers. It was a more social upbringing and school of etiquette. Social media, you know, it's etiquette of how to send a text, right? Or how to IM somebody on Messenger, or how to put out a Facebook post. We need to be high tech and high touch. So whether you're speaking to somebody online or offline, you're doing it with words. And if you're listening to this right now, your audience should write this down because this is huge. Words trigger pictures, which trigger emotions, which lead to action steps. Words trigger pictures, which trigger emotions, which lead to action steps. Words are things. And literally, not only can we hear words, but we can see words, we can touch words, we can taste words, we can smell words. If I say banana, right, you can picture the banana, you can really taste the banana, you understand what I'm trying to say? But people don't know how to use words in the right capacity to where they're connecting the dots. So I would probably say the past 10, 15 years of my life, my sales career, my business career, I started to understand that there's companies out there that are training people. Number one, they don't train salespeople correctly. Sales is the most important facet of any business, but the worst trained department in any business, right? They'll teach somebody how to, you know, whatever, clean a grill, but they won't teach people how to properly greet someone at the counter and upsell a product or service. So point I'm trying to impress upon everybody is companies don't properly train, or it's here, you know, sell this product, read the manual, and then they go out, or then they'll go out and they'll buy courses on, you know, hardcore closing or whatever. Well, you can't go out, first of all, the days of hardcore closing, in my opinion, are almost over because people are smarter. They're educated. They have the internet at their access. They can go in and review various products and services. So half of their decision 70% of their decision is probably made before they get on the phone with you or walk into your store.
Right.
But that being said, it's foundational. Again, that's why I say I like to teach people how to present and position and profit. How do you present yourself in a way where you become unforgettable at the first point of contact? How do you position yourself at the first point of contact where you become the only logical choice? Well, it's with words. You're making a first impression and you're telling people how you can help them. And they're looking at you, they're listening to your tonality, what you're saying, and this goes into their brain. And again, I'm no, rocket scientist or brain expert, but I can tell you that the sales process starts at hello. And if you could master your presentation, your power presentation, and get somebody to have interest in what you have to offer, and they ask you, how do I learn more? Or can I get your card? Again, now they are taking their own call to action towards you, and you're not selling anymore. You're presenting, and 80% of the sale, in my opinion, is closed. Now it's just about making them certain, showing them the benefits and features, and then you're going to have to follow up and follow through. Now, I have an example in my book of being at Mandalay Bay about a year and a half ago. I was at a Grant Cardone conference. There was a huge line to get in the second day of the conference. I'm like, I'm not fighting this line. I took my laptop, I sat down across from Starbucks, and this gentleman and his 12-month-old baby sat next to me. Cody, I could have just sat in front of my computer screen and did my emails, right? But I can't, again, expose and close, right? I can't meet people. There's opportunities. I'm in a group of like-minded people, right? They're entrepreneurs. So I lean over. So the guy, hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name? He said, Lester. I said, Lester, nice to meet you. What do you do? He goes, well, I'm a speaker and a trainer. Boom. Right? What do you do, Charlie? Well, I empower speakers, trainers, and subject matter experts to monetize their content online and offline, Lester, worldwide, in 3 easy steps. What are 3 easy steps? Well, I teach you how to present, position, and profit, right? And I go through my whole thing. He goes, wow, Charlie, can I learn more? I took out my laptop, flipped it open right there at Starbucks. I said, sure, let me show you what I've done for people like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, right? Social proof. Now, I use those big names because people know those big names. But I have customers like Dr. Aaron Gum that people never heard of before, right? He's crushing it. Anthony Delmedico's in the construction industry. I have clients that are, celebrity speaker trainers in their own niches, but those are the names that would resonate with the public, right? I go through, I show him what I can do. I show him how I can help him create his content, how I can help him market it. He takes out his credit card. We do a transaction on the spot. Then I said, Lester, you don't mind if I take out my phone and capture what you and I, the relationship that you and I have just built in 30 minutes? He said, Charlie, it would be my pleasure. And literally, Cody, he said 90% of what I said to him in my 15-second power pitch. Now, maybe he didn't say it in the exact terms, but he said, I just met Charlie, amazing gentleman, just stuck out his hand and said, hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name? And then he says, my name, and then he's quoting himself. I said, my name's Lester, right? And within a matter of seconds, Charlie and I had built a relationship. Now we're going to do a ton of business. I'm going to bring Charlie more business. He's going to help me with my business. Charlie, we're going to be friends for a long time. You're great. Boom. And I use that testimonial not only as proof, but now when I go out into companies to train their sales teams and show them the power of true connection and relationship that stems from hello, you start to peel back the onion on why hello and the power presentation and the intention of the connection is so important, right? And then again, how do you follow up? Maybe I don't close Lester on that first time. Well, I might send Lester, a video email. I might send Lester a card. I might send Lester a card with brownies next time. I might send Lester a pizza if he lives in Vegas, and I've done it. So then I go on to show other, what I call mission critical moves, right? That I make, again, with good intention, of how to connect with that people or those people. Again, I used your product. I've got a friend of mine that owns a big hotel casino here, 2,200 rooms, convention area, the whole 9 yards. If I go into his hotel and he sees me and I don't call him, he's just like, why didn't you call me? I want to, you're not paying for your dinner tonight. Like, I can't repay this guy for the respect and love that, when I walk in, the hospitality he shows me, and I can't go out and buy him anything monetary because he has everything that anybody could want. But I'll send him a card, and I'll send him and his partner a dozen brownies. And I'm not saying this because you're on the phone with me. This is a truth. He calls me. The guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and says, I'm sitting here with my partner. We just called down to the restaurant. We got a pot of coffee coming up, and me and my staff are enjoying your brownies. And then he called me and said, I just closed a deal with a high-level player, and the attorney that brought me this deal, I need to send him some brownies. So I said, no problem, man. I'll take care of it for you. And it was like, I gave the guy $1 million, but the brownies meant more to him than the $1 million, if that makes sense. So these are all things that I share, and it's not complicated, but it all starts at hello.
Well, it's really good stuff. I mean, you want to be that person that somebody remembers, that you had an impact on. I saw this thing the other day where it talks about, name the last 5 Nobel Prize winners, name the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners, name all these high, profile things. And of course, we can't name any of them. We don't remember who those people are. And then it goes on to say, well, list the 3 teachers that helped you most in your life. Give us 3 names of people that has had a huge impact on you, that made you believe in yourself. You can always name those people. Always, like boom, boom, boom.
You're saying it, and I'm rattling them off in my head.
It's done, and I think that's what you're saying. You want to be one of those people. You want to be one of those people that people remember, and the way you reach out to them, and you have a natural way of creating relationship, and it is important to master. I mean, you told that story about meeting the guy in the coffee shop there, and you had your computer, and that's one of those perfect stories, if you will, for a salesperson, is that interaction happened so quickly, even to the credit card came out and the purchase was done. Obviously, it doesn't always happen that way. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. But you've mastered the art of making connection with people so well that probably more often it does happen for you, just because they feel that you care.
Well, I'll give you another example for everyone out there that's listening. I have 2 kids, my son, Carmen, and my daughter, Sophia. My son's older. My daughter's the younger one. And since they were babies, and again, I didn't know I was doing this, Cody, right? I'm just parenting to the best of my ability and utilizing, my innate skills to be a better human being and raise my kids. So we'd get on an elevator. We traveled everywhere with our kids. We never left them home. We'd get on an elevator. My son would be in my arms. He's old enough to communicate. And people are looking at, the 2-year-old kid. And I would say to my kids straight up, ask that man his name. And they'd go, hi, what's your name? Joe. Joe, I'm Carmen. Joe, I'm Sophia. Right? Ask him where he's from. Didn't realize I was doing it at the time. right? But I'm teaching them the most vital skill in life, the power of interpersonal connection, exposure. They're exposing their brand called them. Sophia, Cina, Carmen, whoever it is, right? So now they're getting older. So we'd be on vacation. Let's say I take them on a cruise and they wanted ice cream. I'd say, okay, there's a Ben and Jerry's or whatever. I'd take the money out of my pocket. I'd say, here's $10. Go up, make sure you ask the man his name, because I just want him to be polite. 1 scoop for you, 1 scoop for your sister. Now they're going up. They're going to use money. I'm trying to, right? Just trying to raise them and put them through the wheels of life. They come back with 2 scoops. And then they go in their pocket and take the $10 out to give me the $10. And I'd say, son, you got to pay the man. And I told you 1 scoop, 1 scoop, not 2 scoops. And I'd take him by the hand and I'd go back and I'd say, excuse me, sir, my son didn't pay you for the ice cream. And the guy would go, oh no, I don't want their money. And I go, pardon me? Your kids were the most polite kids on the planet. He came up, he said, sir, my name's Carmen. What's your name? I told him my name was Jerry. He said, they did only order 1 scoop. I gave them 2, and I don't want their money. Now, the first time that happened, didn't resonate. I'm like, the guy's just, maybe he's got kids, grandkids. But then it started happening like, not all the time, but enough to where I recognized it. And then I said to myself, wow, it's because they're going up and they're polite and they're actually making people feel significant, because the other 100 customers that were adults or teenagers that went through the line never even thought to say, hey, my name's Charlie. What's your name? Cody. Nice to meet you. I'd like 1 scoop of ice cream today. So that's how now I live my life, and my kids even see that. And again, they don't do it from bad intention. Do you
That's
understand?
powerful. That's powerful. Power of human connection with a 2-year-old. I mean, that.
Yeah, but it works, man. People just want to be recognized, and people also will recognize and take as a compliment if you dress nice and they compliment you on your dress. They're really saying to you, I appreciate you stepping out into the world and thinking enough of me that you would present yourself in that way. And people don't get that.
So is your personal brand who you are, or is it what you sell?
No, my personal brand is who I am.
Right. And I think that's I think that's another thing that people get confused with sometimes. There's a lot of talk out about building your personal brand, and people automatically go to, well, my brand is about what I do, what I offer, and everything else. You don't realize, no, your 2-year-old taught us that. Your 2-year-old who said, hi, my name is, taught us that, that 2-year-old child of yours just showed that's his brand.
Right.
That's his brand. And that's all of our brands. We got to remember that.
Yeah. And I can't tell you, and again, it's not my intention. It's just how I live my life. Like, I'll go up at a hotel and I'll go and I'll say, hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name? Mary. Mary, nice to meet you. I'm checking in. And I'm just having a conversation with that person that's just been probably beat up by the past 20 people that have checked in or out of that hotel, right? That never even asked her what her name was. And they'll hand me my key at the end of a 2-minute conversation and say, Mr. Cina, enjoy your stay. And I go up and I'm in a suite. And I call down and I go, Mary, I only booked a king. Oh, Mr. Cina, we had some availability tonight, and you were so nice.
Yeah, that's great.
And again, I didn't. As I'm evolving as a business person and as a human being, right? You don't realize it, but it's everyone hears it's cliche. It's the little things. It's the little things.
Little things for sure. Well, listen, Charlie, we could go on all day long. You've got some great stuff. You got your company, C4 Promotions, that you've done a lot of neat work with. You've had high profile clients that you've helped with their brands and those kinds of things. You mentioned some of their names like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Eric Thomas, some of those. Just applaud you for what you have done and what you are doing out there. Just appreciate that. I always like to close these podcasts by basically giving my guests the floor. You know, you've graciously answered all my crazy questions, put up with me bantering you a little bit here on the show today. I always like to close, just give you the floor, a couple of minutes of golden nuggets from Charlie Cina. Go ahead.
Well, I think the first thing is, if you're out there as a salesperson, a business owner, an entrepreneur, you need to make sure, first and foremost, that you're in the right vehicle. You need to wholeheartedly believe in the product or service that you're representing and be 100% certain that you can go out and take it to the world and help people overcome a problem, an obstacle, and or better their lifestyle in some way, shape, or form, depending on what your product and service provides. That's number one. Two, when I wake up in the morning, I say the following: it should be your intention to get attention. And then when you get people's attention, you need to get them to pay attention. And then when you can get them to pay attention, eventually they will pay you for your attention. So it should be your intention to get attention. Once you get attention, make sure people are paying attention. And then once they pay attention, they will pay you for your attention. How do you do that? Well, again, how do you get people at hello? I think the statistic, you may know better than me, YouTube, it's like 8 seconds, right? The average video is watched 8 seconds. If you don't hook somebody in 8 seconds on a YouTube video, they're bye-bye, right? And depending on what demographic you fall in, right? Millennial, Generation X, baby boomer, right? I think as you get down to millennials, somebody just told me that I was talking to today said, no, Charlie, for millennials, it's 6 seconds. So
Right.
You have to get people at hello. Are you dressing to your audience? I'm not suggesting if you're in the landscaping business, you should be wearing a sport coat and a French cuff shirt or whatever. But if you're in the landscape business, have a polo shirt on, you know, have your logo on it. If you're looking to hire people, put on we're hiring, or we're looking for like-minded people. Like, there's just so many ways to expose yourself and expose your brand. The other thing is do you want to acquire customers or do you want to acquire clients? See, I initially wrote my first book that someone helped me with, and it was called Creating Customers for Life. And I never really launched that book. I had, a handful of copies printed, and I told my wife, doesn't make sense. It's not me. It's not 100% my words. Again, truth, authenticity, and proof, right? I didn't feel it. So I wrote Expose and Close, and I have a chapter in there now that's called Customers versus Clients, or Clients versus Customers. And here's the difference. A customer is transactional. A customer walks into a convenience store, buys a bottle of water, swipes their debit card or throws money on the counter, gets ringed up, and they leave. That's a customer. Hopefully, if your store is clean and your person smiled behind the counter, that customer may or may not come back. A client, however, is somebody that you have a personal relationship with, that comes to you for counsel, that comes to you for mentorship, that comes to you for education on how to leverage the product or service in their personal life or business. And if you're doing your job correctly, you can nurture that client and educate them in order to elevate them so they can dominate their space, or they can have a better lifestyle, or they can lose weight, or they can have more interpersonal relationships with people. So those are other words that I use: educate, elevate, dominate. If you educate yourself, you can elevate yourself, you can dominate your space. Once you're educated, now you can educate other people, you can elevate them, and then you can teach them how to dominate. And if you're an employer and you live by that rule, man, your corporate culture will go to another level.
Well, there you have it, my friends. My goodness, that is really good stuff. If you're driving down the road right now, listening to this podcast, can't think of better words to be listening to. And Charlie, we thank you so much for being on the Relationship Marketing Podcast with us today. You're a true expert. You're a true gentleman. Appreciate all that you do, my friend. And where can they get a copy of your book, Expose and Close? It's a good read. You want to get it.
Yeah, so two things. They can go to exposeandclose.com, just like it sounds, expose, E-X-P-O-S-E, and close.com. And then for anyone that's listening right now, when they go there, Cody, I'm going to have a free gift for everybody where they can get my 10 no's to the close. And that's not 10 no's, N-O. It's 10 no's, K-N-O-W-S, that are 10 key things that they can implement to shorten their sales cycle and increase revenue.
Excellent. Great offer. Appreciate that very much. Charlie Cina, everybody, appreciate you being on with us. Make sure that you share this with all of your friends. Let's get more listeners coming on here. By the way, we continue to grow our viewership every single week. Appreciate all those that are out there trying to sharpen your saws and to get better at your craft, get better at what you're doing. Relationship marketing is here to stay. It's essential in today's marketplace to create genuine human connection with other human beings and create relationship with people, and everything else has a tendency to work out. It just makes a better quality of life and certainly makes you better in your business. So appreciate y'all. We'll see you yet on another episode of Relationship Marketing with Cody B. Take care, everybody. We'll see you now.
If you have enjoyed this episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a review so that together we can get this message, The Power of Human Connection, out to the world. You can find Cody's new book, The Power of Human Connection, on Amazon or the Send Out Cards gift store.